we are in this room that we've done over like a few times.
It's our office.
Yes.
And it needs
TLC.
It needs some TLC. It needs a change. That's our project this week.
For kind of cleaning out the space. It's not as bad as when we were doing it maybe over a year ago.
Yeah.
When we were doing this room into, like, it was my daughter's old room, and then we made it like kind of a makeshift guest room. We made it more into a guest room, and then it was kind of like an office / guest room, and then it was just a guest room. Now it's an office.
It's an office, but there's storage here as well.
Yes.
It's a multi-purpose room, and it's become kind of a mess. So
it has. So our intention is to have to find a piece, which I'm not sure we're going to find that this week in 1 week. So it's going to be maybe held off for the future, but we're keeping our eyes out for an affordable piece, like just a small love seat that could fit on this wall. It's a small room, but something we can utilize when we're working in here. We have our meetings in here. We talk about our videos in here. Maybe when Paul is writing his next book, or we're kind of doing bills or something, one of us might be sitting on a little sofa. We have this kind of makeshift bench that Paul made. Now we can have an actual sofa where it's comfortable, but we're looking for in the future a piece that can also pull out to a small mattress. So if someone or a couple wants to stay here, we have the option to still have that guest room feel, but 90% of the time it'll be an office.
Yeah.
We don't have people visiting much anymore, but it is something where on a rare occasion someone might, so we want that option for people.
Yeah. So storage is another big problem.
Yes.
A lot of our seasonal clothes, we've been struggling with storage for that for a while. So we've been storing them in totes in the closet up here. Not working out well. We have this bureau. It wasn't working out well for our day-to-day clothes, which so we saw, if you saw,
A couple weeks ago,
a couple weeks ago we redid our closet with our shelves in the closet, and that's been working out fantastic.
It really has.
For those things.
Yeah.
So we have this empty bureau that needs a little bit of repair. We're thinking about using this for our seasonal clothes, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
So yeah, we had thought about for weeks, we'll just fix it up and sell it on Facebook Marketplace. There really wasn't a purpose for it. But the more we thought about it and we were ready to do this room, we thought, wait a minute, because we have totes in the closet right now that's a real mess. And it's just too much to have all of our clothes all the time in our small closets. So we always changed it out by the seasons. That works well for us.
It does.
But having the totes, it really takes up a ton of space, and we keep adding throughout the years some totes, which this is making us think about maybe we have too much stuff. So we're trying this minimalistic year, as well as the hygge, as you know, we're trying that this whole year, not just for a season, but with the clothing, we're going to try to downsize that and keep maybe more of an intentional, maybe 30-piece a person closet of clothes, including shoes and whatnot, and having more interchangeable quality clothing, which we might spend a little more on, but we know
we don't have to have as much of it around.
Right. So, and then maybe have some things throughout the years that we can add to it to change it up. We're going to try to learn to fix clothing as well, and maybe when we need other things in between, we'll specifically shop for those things for that event or whatnot, but also thrift some for our everyday stuff more and more. We really want to do better by our planet, and we're thinking in that next stage of our life, we're looking into more of like protecting our planet, what we're leaving this...
Being more sustainable.
Yeah, and what we're leaving, again, you know, leaving
for the next
when...
generation.
Yeah, I can't speak today. But what we're leaving for the next generation, trying to make things better, even while we're here, which we hope is a long time. But anyway, on a different note, not trying to get all deep, but we're going to go through our desk a bit because it's just a disaster inside there, and fix it up. We are keeping the desk. Eventually we are changing out this chair. It's an uncomfortable chair, but it's nice to look at, but it's an uncomfortable chair. But it's something that has to stay for now. It's not in the budget. But eventually we will have a more office, ergonomically correct, more comfortable chair. But right now it's just not in the budget.
So we're going to purge some files today, go through some old stuff, and get some stuff out of here. We're holding on to too much stuff.
We are, and we're slowly, we're doing it room at a time, and even in bigger rooms, even in our house, there are some bigger rooms. It's too much in one day. We're slowly doing it, maybe by a wall at a time, or certain cabinets at a time. But in smaller rooms like this, where this is doable, it's more. It's not what it was a year and a half ago, where it was absolutely mind-bogglingly bad. It was really hard. It was a lot to process, and we did it. but it was a lot, and I wouldn't want to do that again. But this is doable, where we're going to take our time, but it definitely will be done in a week, but even most of it, clearing it out and organizing it, will be done today.
Hope so,
yeah.
I think we've learned over the years that when you try to do a big organizational job, if you keep it in smaller sections, like focus on one room at a time or one piece of furniture at a time, you can do a better job doing it and you don't get so overwhelmed.
And you want to keep doing it because it's not overwhelming.
Right, so if you try to do the whole house at once, it's too much, as you probably can imagine.
This room is doable, so we can do this whole room in 1 week, and just the organizing and clearing out today. We're keeping the walls. We really like what we did in here, and honestly, we're not looking for a big change. One big change we are doing, though, we are going to change up the molding in here, which we've been, since we did this room, we've been wanting to do it, we just never got to it. So we're going to tackle the molding. This week we're going to clean it up, we're going to fix it. We're keeping the artwork for now, unless I find something really magical that fits better in here that's free or cheap. I'm probably just going to keep the artwork, including the frames. We're just going to be changing out some more aesthetic things, but not like we're not changing. Yeah, we're not changing wall color or anything like that. We're just really doing the molding, possibly the floor, organizing, spatial planning, how things are going to be set up and what we actually want to fit in here. Not just like, oh, we technically could fit it in here. We want it to be strategic and intentional. But it's going to be an office with a possibility company could stay here, maybe not this week, but in the future. But we're in no hurry. Because we don't have a lot of people coming over to stay. So it's more of a functional thing for us for now, but that will be eventual.
Yeah.
So now that I've done all that talking, but we're gonna get this going. So let's find out how it turns out. So right now we're probably going to show you some of the stuff, but we're not going to show you a lot of the boring going through stuff, all our files and whatnot. But we're going to tackle that first, and then we'll get over to the more fun stuff.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Right now I just wanted to shut the blinds so you could see, because we're getting a lot of that annoying glare from the window. It's gorgeous, but when it's on camera it's frustrating. It's still a little bit dark. I don't have all my lights set up, so I just want to give you a quick idea. It's a little bit cluttered right now, a mess with papers and stuff. We're going to try to be better about a system with this, but I imagine every so often we will have to clear it. The stuff on the desk, we're going to narrow that down to just a few things and make it look a little nicer. And in the drawers we're going to tackle, which I'm not going to show you that, but we are going to tackle the mess and organize it better. So these pillows, I have extra pillows, and the reason they're sitting here is they're getting older and they're not really helpful on your neck, but they're cleaned. And what I'm going to do is take the stuffing out, because sometimes you'd like that, because I know because they're clean now, that extra stuffing really helps when you have these extra pillows, and I'll keep it for a short time and eventually throw them out. But I want to try to utilize these things and not put them to waste. Eventually they'll be totally gotten rid of, but for now it might act as extra stuffing for something. Like, so that's why they're sitting here.
You're saying like for throw pillows? For
throw pillows, or I'm probably not explaining things well, but for pillows or whatever you want to stuff. Maybe cushions, maybe you make some kind of cute crafts that you need to stuff it with something. These are great for those type of things. However, it's only for a limited time, but it'll help give it a life for a little bit longer. And that's why I save these. But make sure you clean your pillows first before you do that. So as usual, Paul has spotted a find on the side of the road that everyone would drive past, because there's a broken leg, there's a claw footing that is off, it's an ugly table and it's falling apart and it's cheap. And there was a big free sign on it, and most people would drive past it. Paul always sees the potential in things, as do I, which is why we fit together well. But okay, so there's this piece, and we're thinking, what in the world will we do with this? He's going to take it apart. We're going to actually take it in pieces. What we're going to do is, with that bottom piece, we're going to cut it down. We won't have the claws anymore, and we won't have as much of the curvature, because we're going to cut some of it off.
They're all broken.
They're all broken.
They've all been repaired.
Yes. So what we're going to do is cut them and just have like less of a curvature, less of a leg, and the base we'll do something else with. So we're going to get maybe 2 or 3 projects out of this alone, and even just the hardware and the pieces can be worth it. So just keep that in mind. Try to see beyond what is there, even if it's broken and you think, how in the world? Worst case scenario, you can't save anything. If you have a fire pit, you've got you've got lovely fire wood for the fire, assuming that it's not pressure treated. What I'm hoping to do is with that drawer is maybe put a different top on it and have another type of table with a drawer. It's got a good shape to it, and I think the bones aren't very good. It's falling apart a bit. However, I think we're going to be able to salvage it.
So these are already broken and screwed back together here. So I'm thinking about cutting them around this spot to make shorter legs. I'm going to try to cut these down on the chop saw here, maybe about here-ish, but in order to get them in there I have to shorten the legs in there because I won't get them close enough. So I'm just going to chop these legs off a little bit, just as a step one.
So here's the base. Paul had cut off the legs. He had to cut it a couple times just to make sure it was even, as it was a little rickety after, but once he sands it down, it's going to be great because they're all measuring about the same. So what we're going to do is we have an old, it used to be a Lazy Susan, and then we cut off that part that helped it spin around at the bottom, the base, and we had used it as a tray, added some black handles and some square handles, and that was really great for a long time. But we decided when we saw this, the tray, we haven't really been using. It's just been sitting there on the table. So we decided to use it. We're going to see if it'll work well on this base and make like a nice round base. I am going to actually leave the handles because I think it'd be a really neat, unique touch to it. Yeah, I really like that. So it's interesting with the handles, but I kind of like it. I'm not sure. The handles may eventually come off, but at least for now we have our round base. We made like a cute little table out of this free piece. Yeah, I think for now we're going to leave the handles and we'll see how it works out. So this is the rod with the finial on the end. We like it. These were only $5.99. I bought two of these from Ocean State Job Lot, and they were $5.99 each rod. So I think they'll work great in this room. We kept the striped curtains just because we're getting into that time of the year, that season where it's spring and summer, and we really like the nautical appearance of it. Even though we have some dark pieces in here, I'm still going to keep these lighter things because that's generally our style. But a little tip for the curtains, they have this here where you can have a little ruffle on top. Sometimes you'll get an option where you'll have another layer down and you can make it a little thicker on top. Usually not, but on a rare occasion you will. What also is, at the bottom of the curtains, you have another one. I have been known to flip these this way and do the curtains that way. Just because I don't always like a ruffle, sometimes I like it flat. In this particular case, I just figured because we want to add a little bit of feminine touches to the room, just because it is a very masculine room with the heavy pieces and the leather and the wooden desk and the darker colors. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a feminine touch. And again, we're heading into that spring and summer floral and all kinds of things. So I just wanted that touch. So, and I'm liking it, but I might switch it over in the fall and winter, or if we change the pieces in here, it may go upside down again. But that's just a little tip. If you ever want it more flat, you can always turn these upside down and do it from this side, and all you have is this one wide hem where you can make a more flat appearance. Just a little tip. And these little brackets, I'm excited to say, they have a way to stop this from moving too much. We'll see how it works out. It seems that way anyway. So, and as I'm saying that, I'm still moving it, but it should work a little bit to keep it from moving. It's a little tab that kind of slides over. It should hold. Yeah, it seems to be holding in place. So there you have it. We're waiting to the last second because this was a very busy week. So yeah, the video's out later than usual, but like I've said before in other videos, it'll always be on a Friday. It just might be at 11:59 p.m. So what we did in this room, we left the walls how they were with the paint.
Yeah, that's nice. We like it.
We do like it. We kept our ceiling light because if you remember, I don't know, maybe a year ago, we completely transformed this room into a guest room, and it's had a lot of identities.
Uses? Yes,
different uses, a lot of identities. But this room originally started as my daughter's bedroom. It has morphed into many different rooms.
Yeah.
And so far, this is our den, which is also an office. So we wanted this to be a spot where we could hang out and read by the fire. If you recognize this fireplace, this was from our living room. We opted not for a chimney. We opted not to do anything with it because it fit in this room just the way it was. Yeah. We even brought the hearth in because Paul made that. We never did a video on that. Unfortunately, we never recorded that. That was before we had our show. Right. But it was really cool what he had done. And you're about to see in the weeks to come a fireplace we're going to replace in the living room. And it will be similar to one we've done in the basement, but it will be...
With some big differences, I think.
With some big differences.
It's very exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. So that's coming in another week or two, maybe 3. A lot of our artwork stayed the same and pictures, but what we did do is change the frames so they're more unified. So we did have one that stood out, if you can see, one that Paul had made for the room when it was becoming a guest room.
Right.
And we kept that. I'm not going to paint it because I like that it's a little bit rustic and wooden. I like that there's different woods going on. This is a very eclectic style room. We have the gray wash and we have one white wash, but it has that similar tone. So what we had done is we had kept Jacob's art desk in the corner. He had taken an art class in college and he still loves to do that. So he still wanted to keep it. So we don't have a chair for it yet, but has one in the corner. Yeah. We also have our desk that was given to us as a gift from one of my parents' friends. She used to be a teacher, and it's a very cool desk, and it's definitely a professor's desk.
It's in great shape, too.
It is. It was really great shape. So we keep files in there, we keep our laptops in there, all kinds of wonderful things. The curtains we kept the same, but we had gotten new rods. We had kept our bookcase and we just moved it to a different wall and kind of changed up.
Reorganized it,
Yeah, reorganized it. And then if you, earlier in the episode, you see we had taken this old table Paul had grabbed for free on the side of the road, and he cut the legs off that were
The legs
cracked.
were broken and cracked, so we cut off the bad parts. It would have been too big for the spot anyways. The legs would have splayed out too far. So in cutting it, it's made the perfect little table here, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure. Paul and I are on the fence about it. Paul's more for the handles on it because it used to be a tray. It was a Lazy Susan we made into a tray.
I love it.
And he loves it with the handles. I'm not sure. I kind of want to take the handles off. It looks, to me it seems strange, but that's the eclecticity.
Yep.
Yep. I guess that makes it really interesting. We wanted to kind of have a masculine and feminine, eclectic, and kind of out there design in here. We wanted it to be a little cuckoo.
And also very functional.
And very functional.
Very functional room. It functions very well as an office, and yet also I found my new favorite spot. Read a book by the fire.
Yes.
Have a coffee or something here. It's a perfect little spot. So this is my new favorite spot in the house.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted this to be, it's for all of us, but I really wanted Paul to have, after a long day, I wanted him to have a spot that he could come in here if he wanted time to himself. Also, if one of us is paying the bills or we're having a meeting about our show or whatnot, one could sit here, one at the desk, and even one on the hearth. Eventually, what we are aiming for is to get some sort of a love seat that pulls out into a guest bed. So we considered a Murphy bed, we had considered all kinds of things, but I think for the size of this room, that would probably be the best spot. Best thing to have. However, right now we're going with this leather chair that was given to us by my aunt, along with the couch. We kept that downstairs, but we brought this up from the basement that used to be near the fire downstairs.
Right.
And like I said, the table. In the closet, we moved that bureau. We had considered letting go of it, but we've decided to keep it, and we've put all our seasonal clothes in there, and they'll be changed out later in the season.
So instead of storing them in big totes, big ugly totes that we didn't really have room for, they fit all nicely in the drawers, nice and organized. Love it.
Yes,
perfect.
and tucked away in the closet that we never use. So it works out. We hung our coats above it, and we have some office supplies around it. It's a little bit messy, but all in all, it serves a purpose.
We're thinking of a door solution, I think.
We are.
Just to keep the closet area covered up.
Hopefully a pocket door or a barn door of some kind would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
something creative. It'll be great.
Yeah, something to think about in the future. We've kept our lights in there and our exercise equipment on the bottom, so it's kind of a mishmash room. But all in all, the main purpose of this room is a den/office.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to call it the den.
Okay,
from now on.
The den.
Yeah.
But we hope you like it.
I sure do.
Good.
I really do.
We're going to have some changes where I'm going to start learning how to build and cut and do all kinds of things because I want to learn. So hopefully you'll see me in the future doing more of that kind of rough work.
That'll be great.
It will be. I'll take the load off of him for sure. And I'm excited to learn it.
Yeah. We changed out the trim. The trim that they had built the house with was like that kind of compressed paper.
Yeah.
a molding, which
terrible stuff.
It's really cheap, and that's, well, that's about all I can say for it. It's terrible. If you bump into it, it dents, it shreds, all kinds of problems. So anyways, we used furring strips, sanded them down and painted them.
They look
and
great.
Used those for the molding around the windows and doors. So yeah.
Yes, and we're going to keep the baseboard molding because I think in the future, we're talking years down the road because we don't have that in our budget and we don't have the time. We would really like to redo these floors, and we're still considering maybe a Berber carpet, or maybe just get all the floors redone in here and the whole house.
So at that point, we'll change the floor molding, the baseboard molding. So.
Yes, we do want to get some sort of a connector so it doesn't just kind of drop down.
Oh, the transition from the hallway to this floor, there's a little, it goes down
trim.
a little bit, yeah.
So we're not doing that yet, but we will probably get that. I won't film it, but we'll probably get that next week. So that's our room. We hope you like it. We are tackling a whole bunch of projects this year. And we're kind of changing our style, as we've said before. But the more I change it, the more, although I don't want the farmhouse anymore, I do miss my lighter colors and some of that older style, and I want to try to maybe modernize the farmhouse, maybe go a little more coastal. So that's kind of changed. Right now we're kind of in this eclectic design because we don't know what we want yet. But we hope you've gotten some ideas from this. Stay tuned and we'll see you next week.
Stay tuned.